Those words hit me like a punch to the stomach. Standing in the lobby of my wife's office building, holding flowers and her favorite lunch, I stared at the young receptionist who just asked me the most devastating question of my life. "Are you her husband or the other man?" My mouth went dry. My hands started shaking. The flowers suddenly felt heavy, absurd. "What did you just say?" The receptionist's face went pale. She realized immediately she'd said something terrible. "I'm so sorry. Let me just call Mrs. Peterson for you." But it was too late. The words were out there, hanging in the air between us like poison. The other man. There was another man. My wife, Rebecca, the woman I'd been married to for 8 years, had another man coming to visit her at work often enough that the receptionist had to ask which one I was. I set the flowers down on the reception desk with trembling hands. "Actually, don't call her. I need a minute." I walked out of that building and sat in my car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, trying to breathe, trying to think, trying to understand what had just happened. This was supposed to be a romantic surprise. Rebecca had been stressed lately, working long hours on a big project. I'd taken the afternoon off to bring her lunch and brighten her day. Instead, my entire world had just collapsed. Let me back up and tell you how I got here, how a happy marriage, or what I thought was a happy marriage, led to this moment in a parking garage, my whole life suddenly in question. My name is David Peterson, and I met Rebecca 9 years ago at a charity fundraiser. I was 31, working as an architect at a mid-sized firm. She was 28, a marketing executive with an infectious laugh and this energy that just drew people to her. She wore a red dress that night, and when she smiled at me from across the room, I knew I had to talk to her. We clicked immediately. She was smart, ambitious, funny. She challenged me intellectually, made me laugh, pushed me to be better. Our first date turned into a 6-hour conversation at a coffee shop. Our second date was a weekend trip to the mountains. By the third month, we were talking about the future like it was a given. We'd be together. I proposed after a year. We got married 6 months later in a beautiful ceremony at a vineyard. Her family loved me. My family adored her. Everyone said we were perfect together, and I believed it. I really believed it.
The first few years of marriage were everything I'd hoped for. We bought a house in a good neighborhood, a charming craftsman with a big backyard. We adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Murphy. We hosted dinner parties, went on vacations, built a life together. Rebecca's career was taking off. She'd been promoted twice and was managing a team at her marketing firm. My architecture career was solid, and I was working on increasingly interesting projects. We talked about having kids. Rebecca wanted to wait until she made senior director, which I understood. She'd worked hard for her career, and I wasn't going to pressure her to put it on hold. We had time. We were still young. Looking back now, I can see when things started to shift. It was subtle at first, so subtle I didn't even notice. It started about 2 years ago, right after Rebecca joined her current firm. She was excited about the new opportunity. Better pay, more responsibility, a chance to work with bigger clients. She started working longer hours, not unusual for a new job, especially at her level. She wanted to prove herself, make a good impression. I supported it. I picked up more responsibilities at home, took care of Murphy, handled the grocery shopping and cooking on weeknights. I wanted her to succeed. But the long hours didn't taper off after the first few months. If anything, they increased. Rebecca would leave for work at 7 in the morning and often wouldn't get home until 8 or 9 at night, sometimes later. She'd come home exhausted, grab a quick dinner, and collapse on the couch with her laptop, still checking emails and finishing projects. "This is temporary," she'd say when I expressed concern, "just until we land this big client, or just until this campaign launches, or just until the end of the quarter." But it was never temporary. There was always another project, another deadline, another reason she had to work late. Our quality time together dwindled. Date nights became rare, then non-existent. She was too tired for sex most nights. When I'd try to initiate conversation about anything meaningful, she'd be distracted, half listening while scrolling through her phone. We existed in the same house, but we weren't really together anymore. I tried to be understanding. I knew career pressure was real. I knew she was under a lot of stress. But I missed my wife. I missed the woman who used to laugh at my jokes, who'd want to stay up talking about everything and nothing, who'd plan surprise weekend getaways just because. About 6 months ago, I noticed other changes. Small things that individually meant nothing, but together painted a picture I didn't want to see. She started dressing differently for work, more fashionable, more attention to her appearance. She'd always been professional, but now she was spending 30 minutes on her makeup instead of 10. She bought new clothes, more expensive brands. She joined a gym and started going early in the mornings before work. "I just want to feel good about myself," she said when I commented on it. "I spent so much time at the office, I want to at least look professional." It made sense. I didn't question it. She changed her phone password. I only noticed because I'd asked to use her phone to make a call, mine was dead, and she hesitated before handing it to me, then insisted on unlocking it herself. When I asked why she changed the password, she got defensive. "I need better security. We handle confidential client information. It's a company policy." Again, it made sense. I let it go.
She started going on more work trips, weekend conferences, client meetings in other cities, team retreats. She'd been traveling for work before, but now it was 2 or 3 times a month. Sometimes she'd be gone for 3 or 4 days at a time. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? We were married. We'd built a life together. She'd never given me a concrete reason to doubt her. Except there was this feeling, this nagging sensation in my gut that something was off. I'd catch her smiling at her phone in a way she used to smile at me. I'd hear her laughing during late-night phone calls, speaking quietly so I couldn't hear the conversation. She said it was her coworker Sarah, that they were becoming good friends. I wanted to believe her. Then there were the times she'd mentioned someone named James, just in passing, casual references. James suggested this restaurant for the client dinner. James had a great idea for the campaign. James and I were discussing the strategy. "Who's James?" I asked once. "A colleague. He's on my team." "You mention him a lot." She shrugged. "He's good at his job. We work together on most projects." I looked him up on LinkedIn. James Morrison, Senior Marketing Strategist at Rebecca's firm. 34 years old. Good-looking in that polished corporate way. Single, according to his profile. I felt a knot form in my stomach, but I pushed it down. I was being paranoid. Rebecca loved me. We were solid. Weren't we? 3 weeks ago, things came to a head. Rebecca was supposed to be home by 7. We'd planned to watch a movie together, a rare evening where she didn't have to work late. I made dinner, set up the living room, had everything ready. 7 came and went. So did 8. At 9, I called her. It went to voicemail. I texted. No response. By 10, I was worried. By 11, I was furious. She came home at 11:30, apologizing profusely. The client meeting ran long, and then we all went for drinks to celebrate closing the deal. "I'm so sorry. I should have called. My phone died." But her phone wasn't dead. I saw it light up with a notification when she set it on the counter. She saw me notice and grabbed it quickly. "Rebecca, what's going on?" "Nothing. I told you. Work ran late. Your phone isn't dead. It died earlier. I charged it in my car on the way home." The lie sat between us. I knew it was a lie. She knew I knew it. But neither one of us said anything more. She went upstairs to shower, and I sat alone in the living room. The movie I'd queued up, long forgotten, wondering when my wife had become someone who lied to my face. After that night, I couldn't shake the suspicion. I hated feeling this way, paranoid, distrustful, constantly analyzing her every word and action. This wasn't who I was. I'd always been secure in myself and in our relationship.
But now doubt had taken root and it was growing. I started paying closer attention. I noticed she'd come home with her hair different than when she'd left, like she'd fixed it recently. I noticed unfamiliar cologne scents on her clothes that she'd explain away as being from the crowded office or client meetings. I noticed her phone was always face down, always password protected, always within her reach.
2 weeks ago, I did something I'm not proud of. Rebecca was in the shower and her phone was on the nightstand. I picked it up, tried her old password, or anniversary. It didn't work. I tried Murphy's birthday. Nothing. I tried her birthday, my birthday, every significant date I could think of. Nothing. Then I tried something on a hunch. James's birthday. I'd remembered seeing it on his LinkedIn profile during my stalking session months ago. The phone unlocked. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I opened her messages, went straight to James's contact. What I saw made my blood run cold. The messages went back months, hundreds of them. They started professional enough, but quickly became personal. Inside jokes, good morning texts, good night texts, compliments, then more. Can't stop thinking about last night. You looked incredible today. I couldn't concentrate in the meeting. I wish we didn't have to hide this. 3 more days until the conference. Can't wait to have you all to myself. I scrolled back further, my heart pounding. There were references to hotel rooms, to sneaking away during lunch breaks, to stolen moments in his car. There were intimate messages, photos I couldn't bring myself to open, plans for meetups that coincided with nights she'd told me she was working late. The shower turned off. I quickly closed everything, put the phone back exactly where it was, and pretended to be asleep when she came into the bedroom. I lay there in the dark, next to her. This woman I loved and trusted, feeling like I was going to be sick. Everything made sense now. The late nights, the work trips, the distance, the lies. She was having an affair with James. Had been. For months, maybe longer. I should have confronted her that night. I should have demanded the truth, laid out everything I'd seen. But I couldn't. I needed time to process. I needed to be sure. And part of me, the part that still loved her desperately, hoped there was some explanation, some context that would make it all make sense. So, I said nothing. For 2 weeks, I carried this knowledge alone, watching my wife lie to my face every single day, watching her text him right in front of me, watching her leave for work knowing she was going to see him. I was dying inside, but I kept up the facade. I needed to catch her properly, undeniably. I needed proof that would make confrontation impossible to deflect or explain away. That's what led to today. Yesterday, Rebecca mentioned she'd be working through lunch today, had too much to catch up on. Something in the way she said it set off my alarm bells. I decided I'd surprise her at work, bring her lunch, see her face when I showed up unexpectedly. Now I knew why she'd reacted the way she had, and why the receptionist had said that terrible question. I sat in my car, mind racing. What was I going to do? Confront her now? Wait? Hire a private investigator for more proof? File for divorce? I thought about our 8 years together, the wedding vows she'd made, the life we'd built, the future we'd planned. All of it contaminated now by her betrayal. How long had she been lying? Had she ever really loved me? Or had I just been convenient, a stable husband at home, while she had her excitement elsewhere? My phone buzzed, a text from Rebecca. "Hey babe, how's your day going?" The casualness of it enraged me. She was texting me while probably sitting next to him, playing the devoted wife while carrying on an affair. I didn't respond. Instead, I got out of my car and walked back into the office building. The receptionist saw me coming and looked panicked. "Sir, I really am so sorry about earlier. Is she in her office?" "Yes, but she has someone with her right now." I didn't wait for permission. I walked past the desk, through the hallways I'd been through a dozen times before when visiting Rebecca. Employees glanced at me curiously as I passed. I didn't care. I reached her office. The door was closed. Through the glass window, I could see her sitting at her desk, and next to her, leaning close, looking at something on her computer screen, was a man I recognized from his LinkedIn photo. James. They were laughing about something. As I watched, he put his hand on her shoulder. The gesture was familiar, intimate. She didn't pull away. I opened the door without knocking. They both jumped. Rebecca's face went from surprise to confusion to fear in rapid succession. David, what are you doing here? I came to surprise my wife with lunch. I looked at James. I'm David, Rebecca's husband, and you must be James. He stood up quickly, extending his hand reflexively. Yes, James Morrison. I work with Rebecca. I didn't shake his hand. I just stared at him. This man who'd been sleeping with my wife. He was taller than me, fit, wearing an expensive suit. Everything about him screamed corporate success. I understood the attraction. I hated that I understood. David, is everything okay? Rebecca had stood up now, coming around her desk toward me. You seem upset. Do I? My voice was cold, controlled. The receptionist asked me an interesting question when I came in. She asked if I was your husband or the other man. Can you explain why she would ask that? Rebecca's face went white. James looked between us, clearly realizing he'd walked into something very bad. I should go, he said. No, I said firmly. Stay. I think you should hear this too. Rebecca, I'll ask again. Why would your receptionist think there might be another man? David, I don't know what she meant. Maybe she was confused. Don't lie to me. Please, just this once, don't lie to me. My voice cracked. I know about the affair, Rebecca. I've known for 2 weeks. I read your messages. I know everything. The silence that followed was deafening. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. James looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. David, I can explain. Explain what? Explain how you've been sleeping with your coworker while I've been home cooking you dinner? Explain the hotel rooms, the lies about work trips, the late nights that weren't actually work. Explain how you changed your phone password to his birthday. James's eyes widened at that detail. Apparently, Rebecca hadn't told him I'd figured that out. How long? How long has this been going on? Rebecca was crying now, mascara running down her face. David, please, can we talk about this in private? How long, Rebecca? She looked at James, then back at me. A year. A little over a year. A year. While I'd been worrying about her stress, supporting her career, being a good husband, while we'd been sleeping in the same bed every night, while she'd been kissing me goodbye each morning and telling me she loved me. Did you ever love me? Or was I just, a safety net? A backup plan? Of course I love you. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't say that. You don't destroy people. You love. You don't lie to them for a year while you fuck someone else.
Several people had gathered outside the glass office, drawn by the raised voices. I didn't care. Let them watch. Let everyone know what kind of person Rebecca was. I want a divorce, I said. The words felt surreal coming out of my mouth. I'll have papers drawn up. You can stay in the house until we figure out the details, or I will. I don't really care. But this marriage is over. David, please, can we just talk about this? Rebecca reached for me, but I stepped back. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice. You chose him. You chose this. I looked at James. Congratulations. She's all yours. Just so you know, she's a really good liar. You might want to keep that in mind. I turned to leave, then stopped. Actually, one more thing. Did you ever actually work late? Or was that all just code for seeing him?
Rebecca couldn't look at me. Sometimes I worked late, but not always. I nodded. Right. Well, I hope it was worth it. I hope all those lies were worth throwing away 8 years. I walked out of that office with whatever dignity I had left. Employees scattered as I passed, not wanting to make eye contact. The receptionist was crying at her desk. She'd clearly heard everything through the glass walls. I got to my car and just sat there. No tears came. I felt numb, empty. The woman I'd loved had been a fiction. The marriage I'd believed in had been a lie. Everything I'd thought was solid had turned out to be smoke. My phone buzzed constantly, calls and texts from Rebecca. I turned it off. I drove to my brother's house. Marcus opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. I told him everything. The receptionist's question, the confrontation, all of it. He listened without judgment, just a supportive presence. "I'm so sorry, man," he said when I finished. "What do you need?" "I don't know. A drink, a lawyer, a time machine." He got me the drink. We sat in his living room and I felt the numbness start to crack. The pain underneath was overwhelming. I'd lost my wife, my marriage, my future. Everything I'd thought my life was going to be had just evaporated. "She's calling," Marcus said, looking at my phone, which I'd left on his coffee table. 17 missed calls. "I can't talk to her, not yet." "What are you going to do?" "Exactly what I said. File for divorce. She killed this marriage. I'm just making it official." Over the next few days, I stayed with Marcus. I hired a lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia, who specialized in divorce cases. I told her everything, showed her screenshots I'd taken of Rebecca's messages before confronting her. Patricia said it was an open and shut case. Infidelity was grounds for divorce, and I had undeniable proof. Rebecca called and texted constantly. I finally responded with a single message: "Have your lawyer contact my lawyer. We're done talking." She showed up at Marcus's house. He didn't let her in, but I heard her outside, pleading to talk to me. "David, please, I made a mistake. I love you. I want to fix this." I listened from inside, feeling nothing. The man who would have forgiven her, who would have tried to work through it, had died in that office. This new version of me knew that some betrayals were unforgivable. A week later, I finally went back to our house to get some of my things. Rebecca was there. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept, her eyes puffy from crying. Part of me felt satisfaction at that. Part of me still felt the echo of love I had for her. "Can we please talk?" she asked. "What is there to say, Rebecca? That I'm sorry, that I never meant to hurt you, that I want to fix this?" "You can't fix this. You can't uncheat on me. You can't give me back the year you spent lying to my face." "It didn't mean anything with James. It was just, I don't know, excitement, something different, a distraction from the pressure of work." "So you had an affair because you were stressed? That's your explanation?" "I know how it sounds. It sounds like excuses. It sounds like you're trying to minimize what you did." I started packing a bag with clothes. "You didn't slip and fall into an affair, Rebecca. You made hundreds of choices. Every text, every meeting, every lie, those were all choices. You chose him over me, over our marriage, over everything we built. I chose wrong. I know that now. David, please, we can go to counseling. We can work through this." "There's no we anymore. You destroyed that." She started crying again. "I love you. I know you don't believe me, but I do." I stopped packing and looked at her. "You know what the worst part is? It's not even the affair. It's the lies. Every single day for a year, you looked me in the eye and lied. You let me support your career, take care of our home, be a good husband, all while you were betraying me. That's not love, Rebecca. I don't know what it is, but it's not love."
What about us? What about all our history, our memories? What about them?
You contaminated all of it. Every good memory I have is now tainted with the question of whether you were already cheating. Was it before or after James? Were you thinking about him while you were with me? I can't trust a single moment we shared. That's not fair. Fair? I almost laughed. You're talking to me about fair? You had an affair for a year and I'm the one being unfair? She had no response to that. I finished packing. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce proceedings. I'm not going to make this difficult. Split everything 50-50, sell the house, move on. I just want it done quickly. David, please. Goodbye, Rebecca. I walked out of our house, my former house, and didn't look back. The divorce process took 3 months. Patricia made sure it went smoothly. Rebecca didn't contest anything. Maybe she felt guilty. Maybe she just wanted it over with too. Either way, by the end of summer, I was officially divorced. The house sold quickly. We split the proceeds. I found a small apartment downtown, started rebuilding my life piece by piece. I threw myself into work, took on bigger projects, stayed busy. Busy meant I didn't have time to think about what I'd lost. My friends and family were supportive. My mom wanted to fly out and take care of me, but I told her I was okay. I wasn't, not really, but I was functioning. That was enough for now. I heard through mutual friends that Rebecca and James were officially together now. The affair had turned into a relationship. They'd gone public at work, despite the complications that caused. I wondered if it would last, if she'd eventually do to him what she did to me. Part of me hoped she would. Part of me hoped they'd be happy, just so I could know the destruction of my marriage had been for something real. Mostly, though, I tried not to think about them at all. Murphy, the dog, came with me. That was one thing Rebecca didn't fight me on. She knew he'd always been more bonded to me. Having him helped. Coming home to someone who was genuinely happy to see me, who didn't lie or cheat or betray, was healing in its own way. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I went on my first date. A colleague had set me up with her friend, Sarah. It was fine. Not terrible, not great, just fine. We didn't have chemistry. I wasn't ready. She was nice about it, said I should call when I was ready to really date again. Would I ever be ready? Could I ever trust someone again after what Rebecca did? I started therapy. Probably should have done that sooner, but I'd been in denial about how much damage the betrayal had caused. My therapist, Dr. Chen, helped me work through the anger, the hurt, the trust issues. She helped me see that Rebecca's choices weren't a reflection of my worth. She helped me understand that not everyone lies, not everyone cheats, and eventually I could open my heart again. You experienced a profound betrayal, Dr. Chen said during one session. That changes you. But you get to decide how it changes you. Will it make you bitter and closed off, or will it make you more aware, more intentional about who you let into your life? I chose the latter. Or at least, I'm trying to. It's been a year now since that day in Rebecca's office, a year since the receptionist asked me that devastating question, a year since my world fell apart. I'm doing better. Not great, not fully healed, but better. I have good days and bad days. Some mornings I wake up and forget, just for a moment, that I'm divorced. Then reality crashes back in, but those moments are getting rarer. I ran into Rebecca once, completely by accident. We were at the same coffee shop. She was with James. They looked happy, comfortable together. It hurt seeing them, but not as much as I thought it would. Mostly I just felt nothing. They were strangers to me now. She saw me, started to come over, but I shook my head. I didn't have anything to say to her. James looked uncomfortable, like he knew exactly who I was. Good. He should be uncomfortable. I left without ordering my coffee. My brother asked me later if I regretted how I handled it, The public confrontation, the quick divorce, the complete severing of contact. I said, no. Some people think I should have tried counseling, should have attempted to fix things, but you can't fix a relationship built on lies. The foundation was rotten. Better to tear it down and start over than try to build on that.
Do you think you'll get married again? Maybe, someday, when I meet someone I can actually trust. Not everyone is like Rebecca. I know, but it's going to take time to believe that again. The truth is, Rebecca's betrayal taught me something valuable, even though I hate that I had to learn it this way. It taught me that love isn't enough. You also need honesty, respect, commitment. You need someone who chooses you consistently, not just when it's convenient or when there's nothing better available. I thought I had that with Rebecca. I was wrong. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means I need to be more careful, more discerning, more protective of my heart. People ask me if I'm angry. The answer is complicated. I was furious for a long time, rage that burned so hot I could barely function. But anger is exhausting. Eventually, it burned itself out, leaving behind something else. Not forgiveness. I don't think I'll ever truly forgive her. But acceptance. Acceptance that it happened, that she chose it, that I can't change it. What I can change is how I move forward. I can choose to stay stuck in the past, bitter and resentful, or I can choose to heal, to grow, to eventually let someone new into my life. I'm choosing the second option, slowly, carefully, but I'm choosing it. Sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone with Murphy, I think about that moment in the office lobby, that split second when the receptionist asked her innocent question and my entire life changed. What if I hadn't gone that day? What if I'd never found out? Would I still be living that lie, thinking everything was fine? Maybe, but I'm glad I know the truth, as painful as it was. Living a lie is its own kind of death. At least now I'm living in reality, even if that reality is harder. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just casual coffee dates and dinners. I'm upfront about my situation. Divorced, trust issues, taking it slow. Some women can't handle that. That's fine. I'd rather be alone than rush into something before I'm ready. But there's this one woman, Elena. We met at a work conference. She's a landscape architect, funny and smart and refreshingly honest. We've been on 4 dates. I like her. She likes me. It's early, but there's potential there.
The difference with Elena is that I'm paying attention now. I'm watching for red flags I ignored with Rebecca. I'm asking questions, setting boundaries, being intentional. If something feels off, I'll address it instead of pushing it down. Dr. Chen says that's growth, that I'm applying the painful lessons from my marriage to build something healthier next time. You're not the same naive man who proposed to Rebecca, she told me in our last session. You've been forged by fire. You're stronger now, even if you don't always feel like it. Maybe she's right. I certainly feel different. More guarded, yes, but also more aware, more authentic, more willing to walk away from things that don't serve me. Would I go back and change things if I could? Would I skip meeting Rebecca altogether? Avoid the pain of betrayal? I don't know. Our 8 years weren't all bad. There were real moments of joy, real love, real connection. At least I thought there were. Maybe it was all tainted by her lies. Maybe none of it was real. But I learned things about myself, about relationships, about what I will and won't tolerate. Maybe that was worth the pain. Maybe not. I'm still figuring that out. What I know for certain is this. I survived. I walked into Rebecca's office that day, had my heart shattered in front of an audience, and I survived. I sat in the wreckage of my marriage, felt the full weight of betrayal, and I survived. And I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm actually starting to live again, building a new life, different from what I planned, but mine, authentic, real. The receptionist's question that day, "Are you her husband or the other man?" It destroyed me, but it also freed me. It forced me to see the truth I'd been avoiding. It gave me a chance to escape a marriage that was already dead, even if I hadn't known it yet. So, to that young receptionist, wherever she is now, probably still feeling terrible about her mistake, thank you. I know you didn't mean to blow up my life. I know you probably lost sleep over it, but you did me a favor. You gave me back my life, even though it hurt like hell. I'm David Peterson. I'm 39 years old. I'm divorced. I'm healing. I'm moving forward. And if you're going through something similar, if you've discovered betrayal, if your world has been shaken, if someone you trusted has broken your heart, know this. You will survive. It won't feel like it at first. The pain will be overwhelming. You'll want to stay in bed and never get up. You'll question everything about yourself. But slowly, day by day, you'll heal. You'll rebuild. You'll become someone new, someone stronger, someone who knows their worth. It took me a year to get here. It might take you longer or shorter. Everyone's timeline is different. But you will get here. You'll reach the point where the betrayal doesn't define you anymore, where you can think about the future without feeling crushed by the past. And maybe, if you're lucky, you'll find someone who actually deserves your trust. Someone who chooses you every day, not just on the easy days. Someone who would never make you the other man. That's what I'm looking for now. That's what I know I deserve. And so do you. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. If you found something valuable in this, if it helped you feel less alone, then subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Because we're all just trying to figure this out. We're all navigating love and loss and betrayal and hope. And sometimes knowing someone else made it through helps us believe we can too. I made it through. You can too. Take care of yourself. Protect your heart. But don't close it off completely. The world still has good people in it. They're just harder to find. And that's okay. Take your time. Be selective. And when you do find someone worth trusting, cherish them. As for me, I'm going to keep moving forward, one day at a time, building something new from the ashes of what was destroyed. And I'm going to be okay. Eventually. Maybe even happy. But definitely okay. That's enough for now.